The 2026 FIFA World Cup games scheduled for Foxborough next year are still a go, but new comments from President Donald Trump call into question whether or not Boston could lose its status as a host city.
Trump suggesting next year's World Cup games could be relocated if he thinks the cities that they're scheduled to be in aren't safe.
Something strange is happening behind the scenes of the 2026 World Cup.
We think is going to be even a little bit dangerous for the World Cup or for the Olympics, where they have Olympic overthrow, right? But for the World Cup in particular, because they're playing in so many cities, we won't allow it to go we'll move it around a little bit. But I hope that's not going to happen.
The U.S. was supposed to be the star of this global event. But now, quiet talks inside FIFA suggest that might be changing. Rumors of political tension, stadium delays, and growing image concerns have fans wondering if America could lose its hosting crown before the first whistle even blows. Is FIFA quietly losing faith in America's leadership? Could Canada and Mexico be preparing to step in? And just how close is the U.S. to losing the biggest sports event in history? It started with one of Donald Trump's classic off-the-cuff remarks, the kind that grabs headlines and stirs up chaos. Speaking to supporters, Trump said that if he thinks a 2026 World Cup city isn't safe, he'd move it somewhere else. Just like that. As if the biggest sporting event on Earth could be shuffled around like a campaign stop. The statement sent shockwaves through both politics and sports. Trump wasn't just criticizing certain cities. He was challenging FIFA, the world's most powerful sports organization. He named places like Chicago, calling them dangerous and blaming weak leadership for rising crime. But here's the thing, when it comes to the World Cup, politicians don't call the shots. FIFA does. That didn't stop the comment from making waves online. Supporters said Trump was just being tough on safety. Critics called it reckless, saying it risked embarrassing the U.S. on the world stage. Even outside of politics, people started asking, does America actually feel ready to host the biggest sporting event in the world? Behind the scenes, FIFA officials weren't amused. To them, the idea of a president, or even a former one, telling them where to play was unthinkable. The stadiums, contracts, and logistics have been locked in for years. Changing cities now would be a nightmare. Still, Trump's comments touched a nerve because they hinted at something deeper, how fragile the U.S. looks under global scrutiny. And that's where the real tension begins. Because while Trump's words may have sounded like political theater, they exposed a bigger issue. What happens when politics and global sports collide? But FIFA wasn't about to stay quiet. Their response came quickly, and it made their position crystal clear. FIFA didn't waste time setting the record straight. Within hours of Trump's comments spreading online, Victor Montagliani, FIFA's vice president and head of North American operations, calmly reminded everyone who's really in charge. His message was polite but sharp. Football is bigger than any politician, any government, or any country. That one line said everything. Montagliani didn't mention Trump by name, but everyone knew who he was talking about. The 2026 World Cup isn't a campaign event or a rally. It's a global tournament built on years of planning, contracts, and international coordination. Every city on the list, from Los Angeles to Toronto to Mexico City, was chosen after long negotiations about security, infrastructure, and transportation. Those deals are locked in tight. Changing a host city isn't like changing a venue for a speech. It means rewriting contracts, moving teams, shifting broadcasters, and reworking sponsorships worth billions. Simply put, it's not happening because one politician doesn't like a city's leadership. Montagliani's statement made that crystal clear without ever saying the word no. What made his response so powerful wasn't just the authority behind it, it was the tone, calm, confident, professional. While Trump's comments stirred headlines and debate, FIFA stayed cool, almost detached, as if to say, we've seen this before and we'll keep moving forward. But beneath that calm surface, there was tension. Trump's comments had drawn global attention to issues FIFA would rather keep quiet, like questions about safety, image, and America's readiness. And while FIFA publicly brushed off the remarks, they also knew the world was watching closely. Because this wasn't just about football anymore, it was about credibility. And for FIFA, keeping control of that image was more important than any politician's opinion. Trump's comments didn't just rattle FIFA. They forced everyone to take a closer look at the United States itself. When he called out cities like Chicago and Los Angeles for being unsafe, it reignited a debate that's been building for years. Is America truly ready to welcome the world? Or is the country too divided, too tense, and too unpredictable for an event of this scale? For many international fans, the US is starting to look less like the land of opportunity and more like a place constantly battling itself. News of protests, political clashes, and rising crime rates make global headlines almost weekly. And when the former president of that country says certain cities aren't fit to host, it reinforces those fears, fair or not. FIFA officials know that image matters just as much as logistics. Stadiums can be rebuilt, but reputations are harder to fix. When the US first won the right to co-host the 2026 World Cup, it was seen as a sign of trust, a promise that the country could deliver a safe, welcoming, and unified tournament. But as tensions grow, that confidence is fading fast. Even global broadcasters and sponsors have quietly expressed concerns about potential protests or political drama overshadowing the games. After all, the World Cup is supposed to unite fans, not divide them. And while FIFA won't say it publicly, there's growing unease about how America's internal chaos could spill into the spotlight. So when Trump made his "unsafe cities" comment, he wasn't just challenging FIFA, he was highlighting a truth that's hard to ignore. The world is questioning whether the US can host the biggest sporting event on Earth without its politics getting in the way, and that's exactly why FIFA might already be preparing a backup plan. While headlines focused on Trump's fiery comments, FIFA seemed to be doing something much quieter behind the scenes. Reports started surfacing that the organization was reviewing match schedules, officially for broadcast optimization and weather considerations. But insiders knew that wasn't the full story. Those adjustments could easily open the door for something bigger, quietly moving more key matches to Canada and Mexico. On paper, it sounds simple, just a few changes to improve player comfort or travel logistics. But in reality, it's a smart and strategic move. Canada and Mexico are both co-hosts, and both have something the US is struggling to project right now: stability. Cities like Toronto, Vancouver, Monterrey, and Mexico City all rank high in FIFA's internal assessments for safety, organization, and cooperation with local authorities. No political drama, no power struggles, just smooth planning. Compare that to what's happening in some American cities, where federal and local governments often clash over security and public events. Even a single large protest could throw off transportation routes or game day logistics. FIFA can't afford that kind of risk, especially for an event that will be watched by billions around the world. So instead of making a public announcement, FIFA could simply let the balance shift naturally. A few more group stage matches in Canada, a couple of key knockout games in Mexico. Each change small enough to seem routine, but together sending a clear message. The World Cup's center of gravity might be moving away from the US. It's a quiet, calculated approach, one that lets FIFA protect its image without ever admitting there's a problem. But for anyone paying attention, the signs are already there. For now, FIFA is playing it cool. But behind closed doors, the organization has a list of what-ifs that could change everything in an instant. What if large-scale protests erupt in one of the US host cities? What if visa delays or political tension make it hard for fans and teams to enter the country? What if safety concerns spike just months before kickoff? Each of these scenarios has a plan attached, and most of them quietly point north or south, not inward. You see, FIFA has learned from past controversies. In Russia, Qatar, and Brazil, the organization faced global criticism for ignoring early warning signs. This time, they can't afford another scandal. If anything goes wrong in the US, they're ready to act fast, but not loudly. Instead of announcing a major shift, they can simply adjust match schedules, citing travel conditions or player welfare. To the public, it looks like logistics. Inside FIFA, it's crisis management. And it's not just about safety. The US visa process, for example, has become a nightmare for many international fans. Some wait nearly a year for approval, while others are rejected for small technicalities. Compare that to Canada's smoother, friendlier system, or Mexico's simpler tourist process, and it's easy to see where FIFA's confidence might go. Even small disruptions, like a protest near a major venue, can send broadcasters and sponsors into panic mode. Billions are tied to those live feeds and global advertising deals. If a city like Los Angeles or New York starts to look unstable, FIFA can't take chances. So while Trump talks about moving matches, FIFA already has its own version of that plan. More discreet, more diplomatic, and far more realistic. Right now, everything looks calm on the surface. The United States still holds the majority of World Cup matches, and FIFA continues to speak about unity and continental cooperation. But behind that polished language, there's a quiet calculation happening. Every new headline about political division, safety issues, or visa trouble adds pressure on FIFA to make sure nothing jeopardizes the tournament's image. Insiders say the organization's trust in the US hasn't disappeared, but it's thinner than it used to be. The tournament was meant to show off North American unity, yet the US keeps making the story about politics. Meanwhile, Canada and Mexico have become the reliable partners in the background, steady, organized, and ready to step up if needed. If the situation in the US worsens, say more protests, policy conflicts, or local instability, don't expect FIFA to make a public announcement. They'll make technical adjustments that sound harmless: venue optimization, climate balance, or broadcast convenience. But each of those could quietly shift more games out of high-risk US cities and into calmer, safer ones across the border. The next few months will reveal a lot. Pay attention to small updates, changes in match schedules, venue names disappearing from official graphics, or press releases that highlight North American cooperation. Those tiny details might be the clearest clues that FIFA is slowly rebalancing its plans. For now, it's a delicate dance. The US remains the main host, but its image is under a microscope. FIFA, ever cautious, is preparing for every outcome without saying a word. Because when billions of viewers are watching, silence isn't weakness, it's strategy. And the next move FIFA makes could quietly decide which country truly becomes the face of the 2026 World Cup. In the end, the 2026 World Cup isn't just about soccer. It's a global test of image, trust, and power. The US may still have the spotlight, but that light can fade fast if controversy overshadows celebration. Canada and Mexico are quietly proving they can handle the pressure, and FIFA knows it. Every small shift, every vague announcement, could hint at a bigger plan behind closed doors. One thing's clear: the beautiful game has never been just about the field. It's about politics, perception, and control. And in 2026, the real winner might not be the team lifting the trophy,